Okay, here's the thing. Politics and bureaucracy feed off each other. Everywhere it has always been like this. Are you aware this model of centralized government or state formation? This this whole model of government that we are a part of, that has helped Homo sapiens not just survive but thrive. This has its roots in China's political history, more so the Qin dynasty or the Han dynasty. These dynasties were responsible for introducing the concept of state formation based on merit, promoting individuals to become to gain power not on kinship, not on nepotism, but based on their skills. But the Han dynasty found out in about 100 or 200 AD that if they come too hard on aristocrats and they side with the peasants, they will not really make any progress. The aristocrats had too much influence. So the government would not be able to work or get its machinery to work in a way that it's supposed to. So they made compromise. They kept certain aristocrats happy. At the same time, they made sure the peasants, the working class, was not exploited. Because up until that point in history, it was either this or that. Either the governments sided with the aristocrats, the royals, and exploited, put the burden of taxes and everything else on peasants, the working class, or they sided with the peasants and stood up to aristocrats because they had the resources. But in about 100 to 100 AD, they did not have those resources. They had to make a compromise. And as it turns out, it was one of the more, or probably the most stable part, the most stable period, stable era of Chinese history. Least number of people died in wars, least number of people died of starvation. Economy was really back to its feet and nobody was getting exploited. Economy was not getting back to its feet at the expense of poor people. It has always been like this. It's still the same world. It may have happened 2000 years ago, but not everything changes. The core of who we are, the core of who this world is, the core of our economy has remained intact. So there have to be compromises made. Politicians have to side with certain business people, businessmen, to make sure they get enough leverage to do what they want to do for people. People like us who go to work, who earn our living, and then who pay taxes. We are just one dimension of this system that influences public policy. Those smart few who run big businesses, they throw open a lot of windows and doors for us to see the wider world through and interact with it. But for them, the world will be full of sulking wage earners, wringing hands over nearly everything, as we see in social media these days. One thing I can say with utmost surety is that we love hating on rich people. We love bullying rich people. And mostly only and only because they are rich. We should rather be offering congratulations to people like Zuckerberg, Ambani, Modi ji, for where they have gotten from where they were. Because we, 99% of us, we are incapable of achieving even 1% of what these people have made out of their time and their life. Am I saying that these people should be given a free rein, that they should be left to their own devices and they will not indulge in all practices, they will do everything ethically? No, that's not nearly what I'm saying. They will exploit the system. They will take advantage of the liberty that we are giving them. The fact that we will not keep a check on them, they will make sure they make us regret. But not because they are rich, They will do so because they are human. Even us, the hard-working middle class, if we are left unchecked, if we are left to our own devices, we will exploit the system that we are a part of. That is just human nature. If we are not answerable to anything, if we know that we will not be held accountable for our actions, it's just a matter of time that we will start branching out of that moral, that ethical bubble, and we start doing things that can be called shortcuts to success or shortcuts to getting rich. That's how human beings work. So we really are not we don't have the merit to call out the hypocrisy or the unethical way of conducting businesses by rich people. Now there are people who like to believe that the ideal world can exist where nobody has to make any compromises on ethics. No, they like to believe that we can make a dream world out of this world. We can have an utopia. In theory, we can have an utopia where every individual lives by a code, where we do not ever do anything unethical. Not just the rich people, but the poor people, the middle class people. We will live by certain rules, and we make sure that everybody works in tandem. Each part of this machinery that our world is works in tandem with every other part, and there is no malfunction. Nobody deviates from their designated path, designated duties, and everybody is honest. Of course, if you ask someone like Veer Das would be quick to say, no, I'm not so delusional, I'm not such a fool, I'm not so naive that I think that utopia, the theoretical utopia is possible practically. But no, that's not the case. Veer Das may claim, may pretend that he does not believe in utopia, but if you dig deep into the kind of criticisms he swings at the government or just many people like him, you can easily calculate that they believe in this dream world where ethics do not have to be compromised, that they do not see the line between in theory and in practice. Because we are so opinionated these days, we should actually stop taking inspirations or getting inspired from the so-called influencers, especially political influencers, opinionated people in politics, whether they are politicians themselves or they are people from other walks of life who are very opinionated politically. Be it Kangana Ranaut, Veer Das, Anurag Kashyap. Same goes for an industry like Bollywood. Suddenly we are all up in arms against nepotism. And we are telling someone like Karan Johar who he should cast in his movie as a hero or heroine. Karan Johar, when he's investing his own 100 crore, first of all, you don't have any right to tell him who to cast in that film. Two, he will make sure that he will have, if he's working with newcomers, he will make sure that all the actors, all the newcomers he has in his film, they are able enough to carry the film on their shoulders, and also they are able to generate enough hype. That is one of the reasons why star kids are taken in films, because there is a reasonable level of hype that's generated pre-release. But even outside of that, it's his own money. It's Sanjay Leela Bhansali's own 100-200 crore rupees. He has every goddamn right to cast whosoever he wants. Who are you to tell him otherwise? Let's pause. I know we all get this urge that we have to express ourselves. We have to pretend that we know more than we really do. But why can't we make an extra effort on our end that the gap between what we pretend we know and what we actually know is narrowed down? Why is it so hard? We spend so much time on social media, on outraging on social media. Maybe we can spend that time on reading from legit sources. There are not many legit sources, I understand that, but there are enough variety of sources, and we can read all of them, we can source information from them, and we can draw our own conclusions. And I'm pretty sure if we get our news or our dose of information from diverse sources, there will be a considerable overlap between our respective conclusions, between the respective conclusions of varied individuals.
Subscribe to Legend Martini for your daily dose of lifestyle, movies, fashion, career, and everything else under the sun. Don't forget to hit the bell icon.